Oh, no, that was it. No, when I get nervous, I tell the truth.
Before his shocking death in April 2016, Prince was reportedly digging up information that could have wrecked the shiny empire of Jay-Z and Beyoncé. Insiders now claim that the very files he collected, the ones everyone thought were long gone, are starting to leak again. Despite what's described as desperate efforts to buy up and wipe out every trace, something is slipping through the cracks. Word on the street says the Carters were convinced they'd destroyed every copy, every flash drive, every hard disk tied to those files. But now, something's bubbling back up, and people close to them are freaking out. If these leaks are legit, the big question isn't whether Prince was uncovering their secrets. It's who has the evidence now, and why it's suddenly reappearing just as Diddy's legal empire is crumbling in court. Prince's death might have been ruled accidental, but the chaos that followed blurred the line between business—
One of Jay-Z's day ones, like one of the original Circle crew members, brothers.
30 years.
30 years. How'd y'all first connect?
Streets, man. It was a connection through
trust and betrayal. The timing couldn't have been more suspicious. Just months before he passed, Prince had released rare tracks on Jay-Z's streaming service, Tidal, saying he believed Jay's promise to protect artists' rights and music ownership forever. That deal once looked like a bond built on respect, but after his death, it turned into a messy legal war. Since Prince left no will, his estate accused Tidal and Roc Nation of backdating contracts and trying to claim rights to hundreds of his songs that were never approved. Court filings painted a wild picture of Jay-Z's companies scrambling to lock down Prince's legendary vault like it already belonged to them. By 2017, Jay-Z turned the tension into art. On his album 444, one particular track fired shots at Prince's estate advisors, accusing them of selling out and betraying the legend's wishes. Jay even said, "I sat down with Prince, eye to eye. He told me his wishes before he passed." That statement drew a clear line between himself and the estate's lawyers. It wasn't just personal, it was explosive. And with that, the feud was sealed in the public's memory forever.
How do you know I'm not a gangster? Or used to be a gangster? I've been in the music industry for 30 years.
Yeah, I mean, the industry's filled with gangsters.
But the estate's legal team hit back, claiming Tidal's contract was completely fabricated. Court papers allegedly showed signs of backdating, and Prince's estate claimed the communication records didn't match what Jay-Z's team had been telling them. It looked like manipulation to one side, but to the other, it felt like a smear campaign gone wild. Either way, it left one haunting question echoing through this whole mess. What exactly was locked inside Prince's mysterious vault that had billionaires clashing like enemies in a war? Not long after those lawsuits hit, whispers started spreading that Jay-Z had secretly flown Prince's sister, Tyka, out to New York. Sources close to the talks said he offered her around $40 million to buy out Prince's entire catalog once and for all. The number shocked the industry, not because it was massive, but because it was too low for control over decades of unreleased genius. People couldn't believe it. Music insiders and analysts were left scratching their heads. What could possibly be in that vault that made even $40 million sound like a discount deal? Now, some insiders are claiming Prince didn't just stash unreleased tracks. He kept personal files, private notes, and detailed records on major music execs, rival artists, and behind-the-scenes dealings that were never supposed to see the light of day. And among those rumored names, Jay-Z and Beyoncé themselves. None of this has been confirmed, but the story fits a clear pattern. Anyone who's tried to control Prince's legacy ends up fighting over far more than music. It's like that vault holds a whole history that could shake the industry if it ever came out.
I think that they don't want, if they was in any of those freak-off tapes, if they played a part in any of those Diddy sessions, they don't want it to get out to the general public to make.
Jay-Z's defenders insist it's nothing but business, classic corporate strategy. But the timeline tells another story. His career has always carried that same relentless, cutthroat energy he once rapped about with pride. The receipts are public. Back in 1999, Jay-Z pleaded guilty after stabbing producer Lance Rivera during an argument over a bootleg album. He walked away with probation, but the story stuck like a scar. Then, just 2 years later, he was arrested again after police found a loaded weapon in a car tied to his entourage outside a Manhattan club. His bodyguard took the fall, and Jay-Z walked free once more. Long before that, he openly admitted in interviews that he made his first fortune hustling on the Brooklyn corners, saying the streets taught him everything he knows about risk, loyalty, and profit. For years, Jay-Z has polished his rough beginnings into legend, turning his street past into a myth that made him look untouchable. But that same fire never really disappeared. It just shifted from the streets to the boardroom. The aggression didn't fade. It evolved into power moves, contracts, and corporate domination. By the mid-2000s, Jay-Z had gone from rapper to full-blown mogul, standing side by side with Beyoncé, crafting an image of perfection. Their brand was built on control, power, and flawless presentation. No stains, no cracks, no questions. And that's exactly why the Prince feud mattered so much.
And it was pretty much said like, Jay doesn't really want awards. Well, he go to the Grammys.
Right.
He you know, come into the black-owned spaces. Let's figure out how to work together so that way we have the relationship when it matters, not when it's convenient for you and your image. Because they all call us when the story...
It threatened to show the world a side of Jay-Z he didn't want anyone to see. A mogul accused of twisting documents, manipulating a grieving family, and grabbing creative work that wasn't his to claim. Court filings revealed that, after Prince's passing, Tidal had streamed more than 15 of his albums, including rare projects the artist had never approved for release. The estate said Jay-Z's company took advantage of that chaotic moment, betting no one would have the strength to fight back. When the case hit court, it got nasty. Lawyers started withholding emails under something called the Common Interest Doctrine, a legal loophole that raised major red flags with investigators. What was being hidden? To the public eye, it no longer looked like a business misunderstanding. It looked like a major power grab that spun completely out of control. But while all that courtroom drama was unfolding, another storm was brewing on the horizon. Sean Diddy Combs, the same man who once threw those legendary all-white parties with Jay-Z and Beyoncé front and center, was suddenly being accused of running a dark empire behind the scenes of all that luxury. Federal filings now claim those fancy gatherings weren't just parties. They allegedly hid an organized system where private encounters were filmed, stored, and sometimes even used as leverage. Former guests and insiders say Diddy kept an archive, a whole vault, of videos from his notorious freak-off events. Prosecutors painted the picture of staged, extravagant performances arranged by staff and recorded for control. Now think about this. Prince, a man famous for never trusting the industry's middlemen, supposedly kept records of everything shady he came across. The idea that he might have gathered proof of this kind of behavior doesn't sound wild anymore, especially since multiple lawsuits have mentioned that the Carters themselves were seen at those same circles right before they suddenly distanced themselves from Diddy completely. Jay-Z's name keeps popping up in filings tied to Diddy's orbit, even in a recent civil case claiming both men were involved in misconduct at a wild early 2000s party. He brushed it off as nothing more than blackmail, but that defense is starting to sound thin. The pattern's too loud to ignore. Once again, his legal team rushed to deny everything, releasing polished statements and pointing to carefully crafted alibis. Still, in the world of gossip and whispers, the timing feels way too suspicious. Now people are connecting dots. Diddy's empire is collapsing in court, and suddenly these so-called Prince files start resurfacing. If the two stories really have nothing to do with each other, it's one insane coincidence. But if they are connected, that could explain why the Carters team is reportedly watching every single new leak site that dares to mention Prince's name. Something's clearly got them on edge. Prince's legendary vault has always been mythic. Endless shelves of tapes, rare footage, handwritten notes, and secret collaborations said to fill whole rooms at Paisley Park. But insiders who worked on cataloging his collection revealed something wild. Not everything inside that vault was about music. Some found sealed envelopes with no labels. Others stumbled upon digital drives that no one dared to open. One former estate advisor even told a trade magazine that certain materials were too sensitive, never meant for public release. That alone sent fans and insiders into a frenzy. When the massive Universal music deal for Prince's vault fell apart in a tangle of legal confusion, things only got murkier. Sources say the materials changed hands multiple times. Lawyers, consultants, and private firms all taking temporary custody. Somewhere along that chaotic trail, files reportedly vanished. And that's exactly where the latest rumors begin. According to people close to the situation, a batch of digital archives, allegedly copied during those early estate audits, has reappeared. And here's the jaw-dropper. Whispers claim those files tie together major business empires, secret recordings, and even private leverage used across the same elite network now being dragged through the courts. What started as a streaming rights dispute has spiraled into a full-blown battle for reputation, power, and control, and maybe even evidence of something much darker hiding behind the music industry's glossy front. Insiders say the Carters have been quietly reaching out to some of Prince's former associates, offering them consulting opportunities, deals that come with airtight, non-disclosure agreements. Others claim it's just damage control, a way to keep their image spotless while the rumor mill spins out of control. Either way, one thing's clear, something's got them nervous. Every week, new talk surfaces about encrypted drives, mysterious documents naming Diddy, Roc Nation, and even private investigators linked to Prince's circle. The deeper you dig, the clearer the trail becomes. Straight from Prince's legendary vault in Minneapolis to the explosive lawsuits in New York, all the way to the federal indictments now rocking Los Angeles. When Prince's estate finally wrapped up its first official inventory, a few insiders reportedly spotted something strange. Certain catalog numbers listed in old archives were missing from the final report. And here's the twist. Those missing items weren't songs at all. They were tagged only as miscellaneous media. That's what everyone's hunting for now. Those mysterious, non-musical files might just hold the key to why some of the most powerful figures in entertainment are suddenly acting like they never even knew Prince existed. Something about those files feels radioactive. Meanwhile, prosecutors digging into Sean Diddy Combs' empire are uncovering details that sound straight out of a Hollywood crime thriller. Court filings describe a highly organized operation behind those infamous freak-off parties, assistants managing guest lists, arranging private jets under fake names, and booking entire hotel floors for nights that blurred the line between luxury and intimidation. It's a world built on secrecy and control. The indictments go even deeper, tracing the movement of cash, medical supplies, and high-end performance enhancers. The evidence list reads like a blockbuster script. Digital records, receipts, and what investigators call multimedia recordings. Files recovered during dramatic raids in both LA and Miami. One of the wildest details? Reports claim authorities seized over 1,000 bottles of lubricants from those locations.
And I'm not saying allegedly.
Oh.
I'm saying, Sean Carter, you're a piece of shit. Taking Pimp C wasn't bad enough. You just want to go down there and you want to just remove all of the balls from every real gangster in Houston.
The tabloids laughed, but prosecutors say it's not a joke. It's proof of how systematic the operation really was. Every act, every guest, every setup, allegedly recorded, cataloged, and sometimes used as leverage against the people involved. Diddy's team keeps denying everything, insisting these stories will crumble once the facts hit court. But the pattern that's emerging has the entire industry shaking. The deeper this case goes, the more high-profile names seem to get tangled in it. And here's where it gets explosive. One civil filing, briefly unsealed before being buried again, reportedly listed Jay-Z and Beyoncé as potential witnesses. It suggested they may have attended one of Diddy's exclusive gatherings years ago. Nothing has been proven, but that tiny detail sent shockwaves through Hollywood and the music world. Suddenly, all those missing miscellaneous files from Prince's vault don't feel random anymore. It's starting to look like a thread connecting everything and everyone. Within just days, an updated version of that same court filing mysteriously erased every single mention of Jay-Z and Beyoncé. Gone, like it never happened. Jay-Z's attorney rushed to shut it down, claiming the rapper wasn't even in Florida when the alleged event took place, pointing to his public appearances in New York as proof. But that moment showed something bigger. The strange rhythm that always seems to follow the Carters. Their names appear in headlines, then vanish just as fast, replaced by silence and airtight legal walls. Industry insiders even have a nickname for it. They call it the fastest cleanup crew in showbiz. To some, it's a sign that they're simply protecting their truth. But to others, it looks exactly like panic, the kind that hits when a story cuts a little too close to home. Something about the speed of that reaction has everyone talking again. Now, the latest rumor sweeping through private circles is wild. Insiders claim the newest leaks that are fueling talk about the Carters didn't come from court records at all. Instead, they say the source is way more personal. Prince himself. Supposedly, before his death, Prince had started a secret investigation into corruption, exploitation, and hidden deals among the biggest names in the industry. He wasn't just collecting music, he was gathering evidence. Those close to him now whisper that Prince's vault wasn't just a musical goldmine, it was a black box of the music world. Files, letters, recordings, everything he thought might expose what was really happening behind closed doors. And according to a few insiders, copies of that archive were quietly made and stored outside Paisley Park, just in case anything ever happened to him. The current wave of leaks, they say, could be fragments from those backups, bits of emails, handwritten notes, or even short video clips. If that's true, it would explain why some of the richest, most powerful figures in entertainment are suddenly trying to buy silence. Not in public, but in private corners where no one can trace the money. And when you look back, Jay-Z's entire image makeover after Prince's passing almost feels like a masterclass in damage control. Jay-Z's 444 album painted him as a wise elder, a man reborn, preaching ownership, loyalty, and emotional truth. It was the ultimate redemption arc, a billionaire rapper turned philosopher. But behind the scenes, during those very same years, his company was being accused of shady moves involving Prince's legacy. Court filings from NPG Records claimed that Tidal backdated key documents, including an equity term sheet, to make it look like they had the right to stream over 500 of Prince's songs. Prosecutors later said the emails from that period didn't match the story Tidal was selling. On record, Jay-Z told the world he was fulfilling Prince's wishes, making it sound like a noble mission. But for lawyers digging through the details, it looked more like a carefully crafted cover. To them, this wasn't about respect, it was about control. Prince had spent his whole life fighting the system, literally writing SLAVE on his face to protest record label greed. He wanted freedom, not ownership by corporations. Jay-Z, meanwhile, had turned corporate power into his personal religion, preaching independence while building one of the most tightly controlled music empires on the planet. That clash between the rebel and the mogul wasn't just a difference in philosophy. It was a war over power, legacy, and who gets to write the story of music history. And that tension now echoes through everything happening around Diddy's downfall. Both Jay-Z and Diddy built dynasties on charm, ambition, and airtight connections. But those same networks that once lifted them to the top now look radioactive. As investigators chase the trail of Diddy's financial flows, they're uncovering webs of relationships that stretch across decades of hip-hop's elite. Multiple insiders claim that blackmail material, recordings from Diddy's infamous private gatherings, had been quietly circulating within the industry long before the raids ever happened. People allegedly traded favors and deals just to keep those clips buried. And here's where Prince's name surfaces again. Ever distrustful of the music industry's power brokers, he reportedly warned close friends that artists were being owned in new ways. Some think he was talking about manipulative contracts, but others believe he meant something even more literal. Hidden recordings and private leverage being used to control careers. Whatever he meant, that warning now feels chillingly prophetic. Prince saw the trap forming long before anyone else dared to speak on it, and the evidence suggests he might have left behind proof that the industry's biggest names never wanted exposed. Now, when you look at how fiercely the Carters guard their public image, everything starts clicking into place. Their entire empire runs on precision. Every photo, every headline, every post perfectly curated. So when cracks appear, they move fast, lightning fast. Earlier this year, a well-known talk show host had to issue a public apology after airing an explosive interview. A former industry collaborator made unsettling claims about Jay-Z and Beyoncé's alleged ties to Diddy, and it spread like wildfire. But within days, the Carters' legal team swooped in, demanding the network remove the segment completely, calling the accusations baseless and defamatory. The host folded under pressure, editing the video and releasing a cautious statement about legal limits. That kind of quick cleanup almost never happens on modern TV. It showed just how powerful and how protective their team really is. Behind the scenes, producers and journalists whisper that they've been quietly warned not to touch any story linking the Carters to Diddy's unraveling scandal. Editors are told to cut segments, delete posts, or redirect focus before anything reaches the public eye. Every vanished clip, every redacted paragraph just adds more mystery to what's really being hidden. Something about this silence feels too coordinated, like a system built to erase digital footprints before anyone can connect the dots. But while their PR machine is working overtime, the real storm is spreading online. In the darker corners of the internet, the leaks tied to Prince's fabled vault are multiplying. Anonymous accounts claim to hold encrypted drives packed with shocking material, private communications between major industry figures, financial ledgers, and even snippets of footage from high-profile gatherings. None of it's been officially verified, but the clips appear, disappear, and reappear faster than anyone can track. Investigators trying to trace those files keep hitting dead ends, but rumors point back to people who once worked for Prince's estate during that chaotic first year after his death. Some of them allegedly copied sensitive data before the new administrators took over, and now those same fragments seem to be leaking into the wild. Some of those early estate workers who handled Prince's vault were later quietly rehired by major record companies with close ties to Roc Nation. If those links are real, it means parts of Prince's vault, the files, recordings, and maybe even his private notes, were already scattered long before the lawyers ever tried to secure them. And that's exactly where this story starts getting dangerous. The same federal task forces digging through Diddy's alleged empire are now said to be reviewing communications involving several major entertainment figures who crossed paths with him, whether through business deals or social circles. The Carters aren't listed as defendants, not even official targets, but their closeness to Diddy's world keeps their names in every round of speculation. Nobody's accusing them outright, yet somehow they're always right in the middle of the conversation. Inside the industry, the whispers split into two camps. Some veterans say what Prince uncovered wasn't criminal at all, just proof of how far artists will go to guard their business, protect their secrets, and keep their power intact. But others insist it's way darker, that those files hold evidence of quiet agreements, traded favors, and secret deals designed to buy silence when the stakes get too high. There's talk of private intermediaries, cleaners, as some call them, whose entire job is to bury stories before they explode and threaten billion-dollar brands. And here's the twisted irony. Jay-Z once called himself the spiritual successor to Prince, claiming he carried on the late icon's fight for independence and ownership. But every new piece of the Vault story paints a very different picture. Instead of the rebel prince who fought for freedom, we see a mogul who seems obsessed with control. Every master, every narrative, every single trace of dissent locked under his thumb. Even Beyonce's flawless image, that perfect blend of grace, control, and discipline, fits right into the same pattern. The Carters' empire was built on purity, precision, and the illusion of perfection. So when even the smallest hint of scandal creeps in, it shakes everything they've built. That's why, when their names popped up in Diddy's court filings, their legal team moved in immediately. Fast, fierce, and final. And when those references mysteriously disappeared days later, the whispers only got louder. Every denial, every retraction just makes people ask the same question. What are they trying so hard to hide? Across every chapter of this tangled saga, one name refuses to fade: Prince. His shadow still hangs over all of it. He never trusted big corporations or cozy alliances, and he warned that owning art means owning identity. Now, as these supposed leaks trickle out, people are starting to wonder if this was what he'd been preparing for all along. If these files truly came from his secret archive, they might not just shake reputations, they could rewrite the power structure of modern celebrity itself. Just imagine if those documents prove that what really kept some stars untouchable wasn't raw talent, but blackmail. That would flip everything upside down. Imagine finding out that the same power couple who preached empowerment and independence were, in fact, part of a system built to keep others quiet, a network where silence was currency and access was control. There's no solid proof yet, but the theory keeps growing because it fits too neatly with what's unfolding. And the louder the silence from those at the top, the more believable it starts to sound. What's left now is a haunting symmetry. Diddy facing federal trials that threaten to tear apart his empire, Jay-Z wrestling with lawsuits over ownership and authenticity, and somewhere between them, the ghost of Prince and a man who warned everyone about the danger of handing power to the powerful. The statements, the denials, the whispered phone calls behind closed doors, it's all reaching a boiling point. If these mysterious documents are real, they could expose the hidden economy of secrets that runs beneath modern fame. Every power move, every payoff, every quiet favor could finally come to light. And if the next leak drops more names, this might not just be Diddy's downfall anymore. It could be an entire generation of the industry facing its reckoning. Because if Prince's files truly reveal how influence, silence, and money got tangled together, then Jay-Z and Beyoncé aren't just battling rumors. They're fighting the legacy of a man who recorded everything. Prince was always steps ahead, and maybe this was the encore he never got to perform. So now the question burns brighter than ever. Who really has those files today? And what's going to happen when the next leak hits the internet? Will it rewrite history? Will it pull down the untouchables? Or will the cleanup crews move faster than truth itself? Let us know what you think in the comments. Could Prince's hidden archive change everything we thought we knew about fame, power, and control? Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share if you want more deep dives like this. Stay sharp, stay curious, and remember, every secret eventually plays its encore. See you in the next one.